Hey, how long have we got to the next drift event, or the first drift event of the year, I guess?
You said the other day, 7 weeks.
Huh? 7 weeks!
In the arms of the angel.
Hey guys, welcome back to CountyLine TV. Today we're gonna be working on more 2J stuff. So we got the intake manifold back from Zach, as you probably could have guessed in the last video. So we're going to actually, this time we're gonna bolt the oh, you guys haven't got to see video of this, you just saw a picture in the last video. This thing's all bolted together and stuff, looking pretty okay, I guess. It looks a little funny in this area where it's like high, low, and then paint. Anyway, we're gonna bolt that to the engine and then put the engine and transmission both in the car and bolt the transmission cross member up. That way we can get a good idea of like exactly where the engine needs to sit in between the strut towers and stuff. Make sure that what we've done to the intake manifold is going to work. That way we can finalize it. And then while we've got it sitting in there, and after we take the intake manifold back off to go get welded up, then we'll go ahead and start building engine mounts and get this thing a permanent home. It'll have to come out again whenever I get the whole clutch system for it, but you know, we'll have it to where it bolts in. And I don't know about you, but I'm pretty excited about it. These are big steps in the swap of this car, big steps. So let's get right to it. So this is our situation right now. We took the engine off the stand and then left the transmission on the shelf and sort of just brought the engine over to it and then hung the transmission off the shelf a little bit and sort of tried to wiggle the bolts in. And it seems to be working, actually, surprisingly. I didn't think it really would. This bolt's ready for sure. That one just threaded too. Cool. Cool, it's working pretty good. And then obviously this is like cheat code easy, because there's no clutch or anything in there, no pilot bearing, nothing like that. So there wasn't anything to stop the trans from just lining up however we wanted it to. But if the bolt holes are lined up, then it will be where it needs to be in the car. Yep.
Probably why.
Phone's ringing. We're gonna get that off the shelf and start bringing it over here towards the car. You guys are right in front of the engine bay right now. You want to help guide this so it doesn't swing all over the place and break stuff? I gotta move you guys. Well, I guess we should talk about this. This is just a rough cut. It'll be cleaned up and then plated and welded if this gives us enough clearance in there, which is what we're here to find out today. We just took how this was a big, giant, round log thing and made it so that we can taper it in and give us clearance in the strut tower. Just figured wouldn't keep you guys guessing too incredibly long on that. We might as well talk about it. But we'll go back to time lapse now. we're gonna struggle with this a little bit and try to get the engine tilted up, but the shifter will have to go in the shifter hole while we do that. So this is gonna take us a while. I'm not gonna just sit here and film the whole thing. We'll get back to you whenever we get the transmission somewhat in place. So the engine's pretty well in its home. We've got the shifter in. It's just a little bit off center or whatever, but it's pretty close. And then the engine, so obviously with that being close, is pretty close to where it needs to be. And you can see that this is this trimming is enough trimming. And then you can also see that we had to take the turbo off because the outlet was hitting my strut tower. But you can see this right here is the factory location for the radiator. And there's the pulley. There's the radiator location. The pulleys would be like touching the radiator in factory location. So I could maybe squeeze the radiator forward some. I think what I'm gonna opt for is just to go ahead and go rear radiator. Just not only are rear radiators better at cooling, but it'll also save me the hassle of trying to scoot the radiator far enough forward, run one without a cap and get a swirl pot, and just all that nonsense. I'd rather just run a radiator in the back with a swirl pot, probably in the back as well, and then just do it that way. And just have nothing but the intercooler, power steering cooler, and oil cooler up here. So other things to note, the turbo will have to be clocked coming down at like this sort of angle here, and because otherwise it will hit that or be going towards the manifold or something. Now I have a light here. The engine mount is a fair amount further forward than the subframe. It's blurry, I know. It's trying to focus on the strut tower right next to me. I can maybe touch it. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, the motor mount and subframe are pretty far apart, but that's no big deal. I'll probably just construct mounts coming off of the engine to go further back and hit down there. Or Justin did kind of pique my curiosity about just building off of the subframe, which I think would be fine. Obviously with this car, especially with my choice to just go ahead and go rear radiator, that's zoomed in. I do not have any plans to run pro spec or anything in this car, so me going rear radiator and doing stuff to my subframe and whatnot, none of that matters. It's fine. I don't care, as long as the car functions is all I want. But on the bright side, this amount of missing material off the intake manifold will be plenty. That'll work. That's no big deal. So that's exciting. Now we just gotta yank it back out and take the intake plenum and runners and everything off together. That way it can go get welded up. Since we can't get to this, that's the other thing, is that we can get to all those bolts in there with this piece of aluminum missing. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the runners off and bolt that up with some red Loctite so there's no chance of them coming loose, and then go have him weld the big void in the intake back up. That way it's like the runners and the plenum are just one piece at that point. It's gonna work. It's gonna work. I'm pretty happy. It is good to know that I have to go rear radiator. It is kind of disappointing because that's just more money and more time, and now I have to build like a rear firewall and stuff too. So that might put me just in the Corvette for this whole season. I don't know. I'll just have to kind of play it by ear or whatever and just see how far I can get and how much I can do or whatever. I'm not gonna slow down though. I'm just gonna keep going at it till it runs. But I am gonna go ahead and get this thing yanked back out of here again and pull the intake plenum and runners off. Get that stuff over to Zach's. I'll try to get over to the shop with him and film him welding that up. I think that'd just be pretty cool. TIG work is always fun. We'll see you guys once it's out. We got the engine about halfway out of the car, like I said we were gonna do earlier. I do have to pull this intake off one last time really quick. I forgot to put the gasket on it. I didn't really forget, I just didn't do it because I didn't want to yet. Now it's time to go ahead and throw the gasket on. since this is going to be the final time that this intake goes on here. After this, I won't even be able to take the plenum off of the runners. I'll have to take everything off together. And if this gasket blows out, then I gotta weld them together, because there ain't gonna be no taking it back apart to change the gasket either. But anyway, oh, I forgot the Loctite over here. BRB. All right, we're back. Yeah, once I put these on here, and then we take it up to Zach's shop and give it a weld, I'm just gonna put some Loctite on this guy real quick. Normally just a dab will do ya, but I'm kind of gonna coat it a little bit because I really don't want it coming apart. I want it to get in there tight and not come off ever. Got a stud in the way a little bit.
Sorry, I'll move.
Now the bolts are a lot easier. I think I'll be able to get to all these with a, oh man, I just got that right on my glove instead of on the bolt. Cool. I think I'll be able to get most of these just with the impact. Now we got, I just knocked my camera loose again. Why does that keep happening? Now it's time to get the runners and everything off of the side of the engine. It's gonna be hard to film all that because it's like in here and my tripod doesn't have a boom arm. So I'll just be up in here pulling some wires off, undoing some bolts and getting her on out of there, and I'll show it to you guys once it's off. We are free this time. Okay, that bracket down there at the bottom was what was holding me on. Anyway, now we got to run this over to Zach's shop and get her all welded up. She'll be looking nice. We'll get her nice and clean while she's out too. We're not in my garage, we're at Zach's shop. Meet Zach. First time on this channel. You've seen him on the Trap Ratings channel if you watch that. Most people don't. There's only like 3 subs anyway. Right now we're just making a cardboard template to cover up the massive hole that Zach cut for us the other day on the intake manifold. And then we will get her all tigged up. And I probably won't pick up the camera until we're cutting aluminum. So this is where we're at with our CAD right now. That's cardboard aided design. It lays in there pretty good. So
a little extra everywhere, it'll be good.
See if we can't transfer that over to some metal. The piece of aluminum that we got is just right at wide enough. You can see that you can't even see it underneath there. So that's pretty cool. So that'll look pretty good there. Project. End up with the good stuff. cheap Chinese aluminum, but my guy Zach really rocked it out. Big shout out to him. Hey, thanks for letting us come out. Thanks for doing some work for us.
I'm sure we'll see you again.
Oh yeah, hook me up with a good deal. Let us come out and film, which obviously this isn't just some random guy that I walked up to his machine shop and was like, hey man, let me come inside there and film while you work on. Hey, let me come in there and film while you work on my stuff. It was like a buddy of mine, so it was just cool that it worked out. He kind of has a family machine shop that he's buying and whatnot. So anyway, enough about that. Now that that's done, I'm pretty happy. Just making huge steps. This project is coming together leaps and bounds faster than I ever thought it would, so that's exciting. There and so, hey, rip to that guy. The progress is amazing me. I'm almost speechless because the progress is just that unreal. But we'll see you guys back at the shop. All right, so we just reviewed some footage, Zach and I, and this video is probably long enough already. So unfortunately, you're gonna have to wait till the next video to see me start building engine mounts and get the manifold back onto the engine. Actually, I was gonna say I promise. I'm not gonna make any promises. Pretty soon, that engine is gonna have mounts. But I also, I really want to get that part done, and I don't know why I want that part done so bad, but I really want that part done. But I do actually still have to open up that motor, do the GTE head gasket, ARP head studs, GTE rods, new rod bearings, and some other stuff. So there's still a lot of work to do. I can't really tell you that it's going to run soon. And then also, as you saw earlier in this video, the car does have to go rear radiator. So that's another amount of workload that I didn't expect to do that I am gonna have to do. So that's another bridge I'll have to cross when I get there. But that can probably wait till the engine is at least in the car wired up and like will turn over. So with all that being said, lots of talking, lots of words. Like, comment, subscribe. Tell your mom to subscribe. We'll see you on the next one. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, it's funny.
Cut!
It's a funny meme! Yeah, it's funny. It's sorry. You told me to act like I was on the shit, so yeah.
Oh, fuck, that is funny. Alright.
So I gotta act like super casual all of a sudden? I can't giggle?
Well, it was just, I was like,
The timing?
I was like, hey, and you're like, don't give it away. This is acting, okay? This is Hollywood.
I'll do my best.
This is CountyLine. Anyway, take two, action. 7 weeks. I can't get up.
Sounds like a you problem, my guy.
Oh, hot spot. You're not grounding through that with
Yep.
red. Oh, probably because that gasket's
Gasket's
on
on
there.
it. Yep. Whenever it wouldn't strike, I was like, what the hell?
That's funny.
It is kind of funny, ain't it?
And it's on film, so we can laugh about that later.